From teammates weaponizing a chef's desire to start a family against her, to allies choosing weak enemies over strong friends. Today, we're exposing the most shocking backstabs in Hell's Kitchen history. Sometimes, the most devastating betrayals in Hell's Kitchen aren't about sabotage or manipulation. They're about using someone's deepest personal values against them. In Season 12, Rochelle Bergman learned this harsh lesson when her own teammates turned her desire to start a family into a weapon for elimination. It was episode 11, and Rochelle had been quietly proving herself as one of Season 12's most consistent performers. She'd won challenges, survived multiple services, and was steadily building confidence in the competition. But during the punishment after losing the Creative Pork Challenge, an innocent conversation would plant the seeds of her betrayal. While shelling peanuts for peanut butter, sous chef Andy shared her personal story about giving up the chance for a family in her 20s to focus on her culinary career. The conversation struck a chord with Rochelle, who had just gotten engaged before competing and was thinking about her future. In a moment of vulnerability that would come back to haunt her, Rochelle opened up about her own dreams.
I don't want to put off having a family and getting married like Chef Andy. I want to get married, I want to start a family right away.
She even asked sous chef James about balancing family life with a cooking career, genuinely seeking advice about her future. It was an honest, heartfelt conversation about life goals. The kind of personal moment that should have bonded teammates together. Instead, her red team members saw an opportunity. Rochelle's honest words immediately set off alarm bells among her supposed allies. Keisha began questioning whether Rochelle wanted to be either a chef or a homemaker, as if the two were mutually exclusive.
If she really wants to be Chef Ramsay's head chef, she can't do it.
These women had taken Rochelle's most personal dreams and turned them into evidence against her commitment to the competition. They had weaponized her honesty about wanting work-life balance. That night's service was actually solid for Rochelle. When Sandra's lobster tail fell apart, it wasn't Rochelle's fault. Yet, she was forced to do a complete refire.
Ladies, start the whole table again.
Yeah, Chef! Oh my God, you guys.
She had no major mistakes, was communicating well, and was performing at her usual consistent level. But when elimination time came, the knives came out.
You know what? I'm thinking maybe Rochelle should go up.
During deliberation, the moment Rochelle stepped out of the room, Joy immediately brought up her name based on their conversation with sous chef Andy. Even Sandra, who was also facing elimination, fought back, arguing that Rochelle had no mistakes that night and that Kasha and Joy were fabricating a reason why she should be nominated. Yet the damage was done. Rochelle found herself standing in front of Gordon as the red team's second nominee, blindsided by her own teammates' betrayal.
Our second nominee, this was really tough, Chef, but we chose Rochelle.
During her elimination plea, Rochelle had to defend her commitment to the competition, while Gordon expressed confusion about why she was even there. She was forced to explain that she had talked about sacrifices in their personal lives, but insisted she wouldn't be there if she wasn't hungry for it.
Rochelle and Sandra, both of you are going to the blue team.
Thankfully, Rochelle survived elimination that night. Gordon saw through the betrayal and reassigned her to the blue team instead of sending her home. Her new teammates actually welcomed her, which was a stark contrast to the red team that had tried to eliminate her. But sometimes, betrayals aren't just about using personal dreams against someone. They can be even more calculated and manipulative. In Season 12, Gabriel Lewis pulled off one of the most shocking last-minute betrayals in Hell's Kitchen history, throwing his teammate Ralph under the bus to save his own skin. It was episode 10, and the blue team had suffered a catastrophic service during gastropub night.
You off upstairs and have a rapid meeting and come up with two individuals for elimination to get the out of here. Now get out!
The men were a complete disaster. Communication had broken down, orders were wrong, and Gordon had kicked them out of the kitchen entirely. Someone had to go home, and Gabriel knew he was in the crosshairs. During deliberation, the team had agreed on their nominations. Scott and Gabriel would face elimination. It was a fair decision based on their poor performances, and Gabriel seemed to accept his fate. But he also had other plans. When the men came downstairs for elimination, Gabriel was supposed to announce himself as a second nominee alongside Scott. Instead, he did this.
Second nominee, and why?
Chef Ralph.
Jason immediately protested, telling Gordon that they had all voted for Gabriel, not Ralph. But the damage was done. Gabriel had successfully manipulated the elimination process to save himself. Gordon was disgusted by the chaos, but nothing could have prepared the blue team for what Chef Ramsay was about to say.
Scott, Gabriel, Ralph, step forward.
Gabriel's betrayal had backfired spectacularly, forcing a three-way elimination when it should have been just two. But the worst part was that Gabriel's manipulation actually worked. Despite being the one who was supposed to go up originally, Ralph was eliminated instead. Gabriel had successfully thrown his teammate under the bus and lived to cook another day.
They backed me up in the corner, and I had to do what I had to do. At the end of the day, I'm here to win.
While Gabriel's betrayal was a shocking moment of manipulation, some betrayals are more insidious, happening slowly over time until they completely destroy someone. In Season 7, the Red Team orchestrated one of Hell's Kitchen's most devastating betrayals against Fran Klier, systematically isolating and sabotaging a teammate until she had no choice but to fail. Fran came into Hell's Kitchen with an impressive resume of over 30 years of kitchen experience as a catering chef. She would have been an asset to any team, a veteran voice who could guide younger chefs through the pressure. Instead, her Red Team saw her as an easy target from day one. During Episode 6's Family Night service, the pattern became crystal clear. When Fran sent up overcooked scallops, instead of helping her recover like teammates should, they used it as ammunition.
You can't cook freaking scallops. You know, I don't understand.
But the most telling moment came during Episode 9, when Fran desperately pleaded for communication from her team.
Nobody talks in that kitchen. They're like walking zombies.
The Red Team's most devastating weapon was their refusal to communicate with Fran. They would deliberately withhold information, ignore her questions, and then blame her when she couldn't keep up. It was psychological warfare disguised as team dysfunction.
Fran just sucks. She's a nightmare. She's a mess too.
During her final service, Fran was struggling on the meat station, sending up undercooked chicken and beef. But when Gordon pulled her into the pantry, her explanation revealed the true betrayal.
Chef, I keep trying to talk and nobody answers me, and it's very frustrating.
Fran wasn't failing because she couldn't cook. She was failing because her own teammates were sabotaging her by refusing to work with her. They compared her to zombies who wouldn't respond when she needed coordination. The ultimate betrayal came during deliberations throughout the season. Time after time, the Red Team would nominate Fran, not because she was the worst performer, but because she was the easiest target. They had created a scapegoat and were determined to use her. Even when Fran had strong performances like being named Best of the Worst in Episode 5, her teammates still found ways to undermine her. When she nominated Nilka and Maria instead of Scott, who had convinced her privately, they acted shocked and betrayed, even though they had been systemically betraying her for weeks. The pattern was always the same: isolate Fran, refuse to help her, watch her struggle, then blame her for struggling. Fran's final elimination in Episode 9 was the culmination of weeks of outright betrayal. Gordon's comment was telling. Fran wanted her team to communicate, but it seems the only thing her team agreed on was wanting her gone. The Red Team had successfully destroyed a 30-year veteran by turning teamwork, the foundation of Hell's Kitchen, into a weapon against her. The Red Team's diabolical destruction of Fran showed how cruel slow betrayals can be. But often, the most devastating backstabs come from your own friends. Such as in Season 9, when Paul Niederman and Will Lustberg shocked everyone, including their supposed ally, Jennifer Normant, by choosing to keep the disruptive Elise whims over a teammate they knew was better, proving that friendship means nothing when survival is on the line.
Jen wants to kiss me. Jen and Paulie sitting in the tree.
Throughout Season 9, Jennifer had built what seemed like an unshakable bond with Paul and Will. They had worked together seamlessly during challenges, supported each other through difficult services, and formed the kind of alliance that usually carries chefs deep into the competition. Paul and Will both respected Jennifer's culinary skills and work ethic. She had proven herself time and again, delivering consistent performances while maintaining a professional attitude that made her a valuable team player. Meanwhile, Elise had become the season's most polarizing figure.
Really mad? You asked me a question. Jennifer cooked your 3 lambs and every shrimp came back.
Her abrasive personality and confrontational style had created constant drama, disrupting team dynamics and making it difficult for anyone to work alongside her.
I don't know what else to do other than take a tack hammer and hit Elise in the head.
While she had occasional flashes of culinary competence, her inconsistency and attitude problems made her a liability that most rational teammates would want to eliminate. Jennifer had every reason to feel secure in her position. The numbers made sense. She was clearly the superior chef compared to Elise, who had become notorious for her attitude problems and explosive confrontations with both teammates and Gordon himself. It should have been an easy decision for any rational teammates who valued performance over politics. But what Jennifer didn't know was that Paul and Will were having private conversations about the competition's endgame.
I am asking you for a favor.
What's up?
When I go up there, I'm gonna put Jennifer as the weakest because she is.
They had begun to view the remaining contestants not as teammates, but as future opponents in individual challenges. In their cold assessment, Jennifer's strengths had become liabilities to their own success. While Jennifer was busy being a good teammate and focusing on team challenges, Paul and Will were already thinking several moves ahead.
Will and Paul are smart enough not to fall for Elise's bullshit.
They recognized that Jennifer's consistency and leadership skills made her a formidable opponent who could easily win the entire competition. Elise, for all her drama and chaos, was someone they felt confident they could outperform when it came to individual challenges. They had been sizing up Jennifer as a threat while maintaining the facade of friendship and alliance. When elimination time came, Paul and Will faced a choice that would define their characters. They could stick with their friend Jennifer, who had been there for them throughout the competition, honoring the bonds they had built and the mutual respect they had established. Or they could make the cold calculation to keep Elise, despite her obvious flaws, prioritizing their individual chances of winning over team loyalty. They chose strategy over loyalty, individual advancement over collective success.
Solely based on cooking, chef?
Pure cooking!
I think Elise is a stronger cook than Jennifer is.
Are you serious? You are kidding me.
Jennifer never saw it coming. She had trusted Paul and Will completely, believing that their friendship and her superior performance would protect her from elimination. She had no idea that behind closed doors, her supposed allies were discussing her elimination and weighing her value not as a teammate, but as a future competitor. Paul and Will's strategy worked. Jennifer was eliminated in episode 14, finishing in 5th place, while both Paul and Will made it to the finale. Both those guys proved that even strong alliances mean nothing when ambition takes over. But sometimes betrayals aren't about strategy, they're about pure prejudice and exclusion. In Season 3, Julia Williams experienced one of Hell's Kitchen's most frustrating betrayals during the very first dinner service, when her red team systematically excluded her from participating, then used her lack of involvement against her. Julia came into Hell's Kitchen as a short-order cook from the Waffle House, with no culinary school training. But she had something invaluable, a willingness to work and help her team succeed. From the very beginning of prep, Julia was actively trying to contribute, asking her teammates how she could help and where she was needed. But instead of embracing a teammate eager to work, the red team saw Julia's humble background as a reason to dismiss her entirely.
I don't understand how I can be needed nowhere, but still nothing is getting done.
While other teammates were assigned meaningful tasks, Julia was left wandering the kitchen, repeatedly asking where she could contribute, only to be treated like she was invisible. Julia had been effectively sidelined by her own team, denied the chance to familiarize herself with the stations, or build any momentum heading into service. When the first dinner service started, the red team's cruel strategy became crystal clear. As the appetizer station began to struggle catastrophically, Julia repeatedly offered to help, knowing she could cook eggs and assist where desperately needed.
Do you want me to do those?
No.
But instead of accepting help from a willing teammate, Tiffany forced Julia to prep apples, deliberately relegating her to completely meaningless busy work, while the entire team fell apart around them. After 2 hours of being completely excluded while watching her team fail spectacularly, Julia finally broke down in tears and talked to Chef Ramsay. But instead of recognizing the sabotage, Tiffany was annoyed that the former blamed the entire team for her 2 minutes of fame. Even Julia's emotional breakdown was weaponized against her, painted as attention-seeking rather than the natural response of someone being deliberately excluded from helping her failing team. In the end, Gordon finally reassigned Julia to appetizers alongside Melissa.